Dear friends, this is the usual way of addressing you all. May I have your permission to address ourselves as the children of the divine? That is what we are. And that is what the Vedanta movement, one of the most ancient philosophical ideas which emanated from India several thousand years ago, teaches us. Let us be aware that we are the children of the divine. So, dears, allow me to address you all, including myself, the children of the divine. Now, from the formal point of view, let me welcome from the bottom of my heart with warm feelings Mr. Michael Shuker, the Federal Minister for Deccan, Federal MP from Deccan, member from Deccan. Right Honorable Sir, you're most welcome. I also have the great pleasure in inviting the guest of honor, Honorable Matt Freegan, member of the Victorian Legislative Assembly for Mount Waverley. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Next, I welcome Mr. Richard Wine, who is a member of Minister of Multicultural Affairs. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presence. And then, my dear friend, Sri Sundaram Shivamalai. You're welcome, sir, and we are honored. And Mr. Vasan Srinivasan, a very good old friend of mine. I use this personal relationship to welcome him. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being present. Dear members of the audience, allow me to tell you what this organization, which is accepted as a not-for-profit, religious and charitable organization, is doing with such social activity. This is where the concept of Vedanta comes in. We humans, with our background of education, tertiary education, we are trained to look at things in a particular manner. A lawyer looks at events from the legal perspective. A medical person looks at it from medical perspective, an engineer from engineering concept. But a group of thinkers in India developed another type of education that is known as man-making, character-building education, which leads to qualitative improvement of human personality, to make ourselves a better specimen of a human being. Now, don't think it is impractical. Don't think it is not achievable. What happens is, we know, we humans, we are the most evolved biological creature under the sun. And that evolution has brought to such a stage that we have developed 4 different faculties: rationality, emotionality, ingenuity, and an indomitable willpower. With the proper management of these faculties and with that determined effort, we find in history of humankind, thousands and thousands of people have identified themselves with the divine. And we categorize them as man of God, son of God, incarnation of God, saints and seers, world movers, prophets, messengers, endless names. But factually, what has happened? They have diligently educated themselves so that this personality of a human, which is individualistic, egocentric human, they, by dint of their own effort, they outgrow these limitations and become one with the divine. The Vedanta Center's goal of its activities is to help people to manifest that divinity which is already within us, of which we are totally forgetful. But according to Swami Vivekananda's sayings, who is the founder of the Vedanta movement in India, in the name of his matchless master, Sri Ramakrishna, he said, from not only on his brains, that is what he realized, that is what he felt. He said, each soul is potentially divine. The purpose of human life is to manifest that divinity already within us. Do it by any means, under any denomination of religion, etc., faith and belief. It doesn't matter. For heaven's sake, do it and be free. That is the end all and be all of all religious teachings that human society has developed since the dawn of history. So we are here to preach and propagate by setting an example, not only talking and preaching, but with our own lives. We try to educate ourselves to convert the concept of work into a concept of worship, continuous interaction with the awareness of presence of divine already within us. And all religions of the world preach that God created this universe and He saturated this universe with His own being. That means, in reality, there's not a speck of space, not an iota of time where God is not. So all that we do, if you are aware of the presence of the divine, the concept of individualistic, egocentric activity is converted into an endless interaction with the awareness of the divine. This is Vedanta principles put into practice. So dears, what we are doing now in Melbourne, in Sydney, in Brisbane, in Perth, in Adelaide, in Canberra, we have these 6 centers functioning here, and we have a good many number of Swamis to carry this message from door to door. We try to tell people, come out of the hold of the denominational concepts. Identify yourself with the whole cosmos, and you can do it by identifying yourself with that cosmic energy and that cosmic presence known as God, Khuda, Allah, Musa, Isha, Buddha, etc., 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 Jesus, etc. Please kindly help yourselves to outgrow these limitations and be in reality a child of the divine. With these few words, dears, I again heartily welcome all of you on behalf of this organization, which tries its very best to help humans to find their soul oneness with the divine. May the Divine Trinity, under whose guidance and name this organization was established by Swami Vivekananda, may their divine grace be endlessly showered on us so that we can make a correct specimen, a perfect specimen of a human being of ourselves. Thank you, my dears. Thank you. God bless you.
Hello. Thank you, Reverend Swami Sridharanandaji Maharaj. I now invite Swami Sunishtanandaji Maharaj, our very own resident monk of the Vedanta Center of Melbourne, to accompany our guests of honor to the stage. While Swami Sunishtanandaji Maharaj is accompanying them, we would also like to acknowledge that today we have amongst us Dr. Bhadra Shah, who is from New York and the chairperson of Share and Care Foundation. We also have Ms. Amanda Cates, who is the commander of the Australian Federal Police. Thank you and welcome to the stage, Swami Sunishtanandaji, with the guests.
So it's our pleasure and privilege to have amongst us the Honorable Michael Zucker, the federal member from the Deakin, as well as Honorable Matt Fragan. He's the Victorian member from Glen Waverley as our guest today in this wonderful evening where we are going to have this wonderful play on the life of Sister Nivedita. Nowadays we speak of multiculturalism, but what's the true spirit of multiculturalism is? I think by the time the play will be over, you will really appreciate through that life how the true spirit of multiculturalism was reflected. A wonderful life. It doesn't speak of patronizing, that I am something already enlightened and I have to enlighten the world. That's not the idea. You will find that that character dedicated herself totally for the welfare of India, first converting herself as an Indian, that I have to understand the background, the ethos of the people, not disturb their value system, their background, and try to help them keeping that intact, and have to synthesize the best of the Western culture as well as the Eastern culture. It's a wonderful thing which will come out of the play, and which we find nowadays, where we find the world has become so small geographically, because all are now bound to be together, where if we don't have proper attitudinal correction, our living together instead of creating a unity, which becomes the cause of chaos and all sorts of conflicts. So it's a high time where we try to grow awareness through such type of plays, such seminars and other things. I think you will all enjoy to this play in that sense. So I now, just before the play starts, I would just request our Honorable MP Michael Zucker to speak a few words just to you, regarding the play and the thing which we are going to just present today. Yes, thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody, and Swami, thank you for the introduction. And can I also thank your president and Swami for that benediction. It was very powerful, and I got a lot out of it. Can I also acknowledge the state member for Mount Waverley, Mr. Vasan, Srini Vasan, my good friend, ladies and gentlemen, special guests. It's a great honour to be here tonight at this play, and I've been looking forward to it for some time. And can I thank everybody involved with the Vedanta Centre for what you do. I've got the great honour of having the Vedanta Centre of Melbourne residing in my electorate of Ringwood of Deakin in the suburb of Ringwood East. I've had the great honour of visiting on a number of occasions and seeing the outstanding work that is done there. It's 2019, and I don't need to tell each and every one of you in the audience that no doubt in modern society there is more and more animosity towards people of faith. There's a greater disconnection between the search for divinity that we just heard about then in the benediction and what happens in the modern world we live in. So the work of the Vedanta Centre, not just here in Melbourne but throughout Australia, is more important than ever. And I don't want to hijack tonight by any means, but in supporting that work and ensuring that it can reach even more people, one of the things I wanted to mention tonight in front of this gathered audience is that in supporting that work, we are very keen to provide the Vedanta Centre of Melbourne, if the Liberal government is re-elected, $100,000 to support the work that you do. I've been quite amazed at the ability for your movement to support itself with fundraising, the number of people that you've reached. And I know this is only a small contribution, but we hope it's one that will allow even more people to enter on that path of divinity that we heard of, because I think in the modern world, that connection to faith, supporting people with that spirituality, I think in the end will make our society stronger, it will make our country stronger, and ultimately it will make the world stronger. So I hope everybody enjoys the play tonight. I'm very grateful for the invitation, and even more than that, I'm very grateful for the wonderful work that you do in our local area. Thank you very much.
So I now request our Honorable Matt Fregan to just address you, to say a few words just before the program commences. Yeah,
Thank you, Swami. Pranam, namaste. It's my pleasure tonight to represent the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Richard Wynne. He sends his apologies. He couldn't come tonight, but he and I know that we're about to see a great play, and I'm going to learn a lot about Vedanta. But I know that the Victorian Andrews Labor government are very aware of the importance of multiculturalism, and that's why we've supported the Indian community with I think it's $14 million for Indian aged care that we're having in a number of places. And without going on about the ways that the government helps the community, I think it's important that we look at the way that your community helps all of us. And the Swami's words before were quite moving, and I thank you for those. To know that we are included all as one, and that the compassion and a life of respect, this is the way that we bring up our children. This is the way that we want to live, and this is the way that our futures will go forward together. So one thing in a bit of reading that I did about tonight, one thing that really struck home was the idea that nobody should be left behind. That fairness is very important to those, no matter where they come from. So with that in mind, I know I speak for everyone here, including Michael, that I wish you a very great play, and I know I'll enjoy it. And thank you so much for inviting me. I feel very honoured and very privileged. Dhanyavad.
So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Michael Zucker.
What are you two girls doing here reading books? you think that by reading books you will become a learned sage? Just learn how to cook, clean, and look after your little brother.
Concentration. 64. Priority. Or hesitation. Travel first.
Aditya, stop playing with your brother. Your marriage has been arranged.
Really? But she's so little. Only 12. She'll miss us and cry all night. Who will she play with and how old will our husband be?
He's 22 years old. You should now be happy that she will be somebody else's responsibility.
How can you do this to me? I have this. I don't want to eat anymore. I don't want to eat anymore. Girls, let's not read books.
Okay, children. Okay, children, let's go to the class. Sit. Okay, so today I'm going to tell you a very interesting story. Today I'm going to tell you the story of Making of Nivedita. So, in 1898 in Kolkata, she started the very first school for girls in today's India. She was a remarkable soul and a foremost disciple of Swami Vivekananda. She was born as Margaret in Ireland of the noble Scottish ancestors. She gave her life to realize the vision and teachings of a guru, Swami Vivekananda.
A bird cannot fly with one wing. Both men and women are needed to build a successful nation. What is needed now is not a man, but a woman, a real lioness, to work for India, her women especially.
So, we were talking about the women. So, in today's India, we have had a lady pilot land a fighter helicopter in the most dangerous Siachen Glacier. Okay, what else are the other achievements by women? The Prime Minister to the President to the Chairperson of India's largest banks. So, you ready to watch the video? Sarah, which one?
His inaugural speech in the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago.
That's right, the World's Parliament of Religion in Chicago, 1893. So the World's Parliament of Religion in Chicago, 1893, was one of the most significant events in the history of the world. This was the very first time that all the great religions of the world assembled together on the same platform. Swami Vivekananda, a Hindu monk from India, had been accepted as a representative of Hinduism. He was young. He was unknown, who had absolutely no friends in this foreign land. But you know what he had? An absolute faith in providence. He wrote in a letter, "I am here amongst the Son of Mary, and Lord Jesus will help me." And the help did come. His maiden address at the Parliament transformed him overnight into an outstanding figure of the religious world. From obscurity, he leapt into fame. His life-size portraits were posted on the streets of Chicago with the words, "The Cyclonic Monk," written beneath them.
Sisters and brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to this warm and cordial welcome you have given us. I am proud to belong to a religion that has taught this world tolerance and universal acceptance. We believe not only in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true. I am proud to belong to a nation that has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all nations and all religions of this earth. As different streams, having their sources in different places, all mingle their waters in the sea. So, O Lord, the different paths that men take through different tendencies, various though they may appear, crooked or straight, all lead to Thee. I fervently hope that the bell that tolled this morning in honor of this very convention is a death knell of all fanaticism and all persecutions by the sword or with the pen, and of all ill feelings between people winding their way to the same goal.
the US, Swamiji went to London. Now, it was in London that he met Margaret, who not only became his disciple, consecrating her life to the women's education in India, she also supported the cause of India's political freedom, inspiring so many of its leaders with her written and spoken words. Now, we were talking about the meeting. So this meeting happened on a Sunday evening in the drawing room of Lady Isabel Margesson in the fashionable West End of London.
Lady Isabel, have you heard of this young Hindu monk who is all the rage these days?
Are you talking about this young man whose speech got a standing ovation, a thundering ovation for 5 long minutes at the Chicago Parliament of Religion?
Yes, that is the one. You know Mrs. Bull, who's just come back from Boston last week. She said the who's who of American society are just falling all over themselves to hear him speak.
Really? A Hindu and an Indian?
I've already met him. He is remarkable. He's just come to London 3 weeks back at the invitation of some of my friends.
Here she comes name-dropping about the rural courtiers that she dines with, just because she resides herself in this mansion in the West End.
It seems it was the Swami's divine call. Within 3 weeks of his arrival in the UK, his classes were overflowing. Newspapers have interviewed him and they look upon him as the man of authority.
I'm intrigued. Wonder when can I meet him?
Look no further. It has taken some doing, but that must be him now. Swamiji, won't you please come in?
What an air of deep serenity. The long practice of meditation is so palpably visible in his appearance.
Oh, what an ethereal background for this conversation to set in. A Hindu sage amongst a group of Western listeners talking about the perennial truth of his eternal religion.
Yes, you're right. Just like how it is in an Indian village where people gather around under a tree listening to a sadhu. It's beautiful.
Shiva, Shiva, Shiva.
Swamiji, may we please have our question answer session?
Oh, yes.
Swamiji, can you please tell all of us what precisely is religion?
Religion. Religion is the manifestation of the divine in man.
But to me, it seems religion is all about binding us in faith.
Religion, of course, binds us in faith. But that is merely the beginning. For faith is like a hedge. Its purpose is to protect the sapling. But once a sapling grows into a big tree, it is of no use. It is great to be born to a religion, but terrible to die there.
But isn't faith something that one grasps from birth unto death?
Faith is not a thing to grasp. It is a state to grow into. Today's ideas should become tomorrow's realization. The ideologies of Scripture must manifest through our lives. Otherwise, it's mere bookish knowledge.
Wonderful. Religion is a matter of realization and not mere faith. It's a new thought, Swamiji. That needs consideration.
Yes, and this is why I have come to the West. For I firmly believe that it is time for us to trade in ideas, just as we do with commodities in the market.
Swamiji, all that you say is enough to enthrall the listeners. It is. But we're not particularly inclined to accept your views. Most people in the West are interested in modern movement, where they regard psychology as a center of faith.
I see. You are all intellectually advanced, yet unable to comprehend the spirit of a brand new doctrine of truth. Your pet ideas and insular pride blind you from seeing what is new.
What Swamiji says does make sense. Not only is it ungenerous, but unjust to dismiss in such fashion the message of a new mind and strange culture.
We British pride ourselves in looking at the world, understanding them, and enlightening them in the process.
Yes, and bring development on modern science, technology, and medicine for their upliftment.
In the process, we are tolerant, open-minded, taking in the age-old spiritual wisdom.
You're right. And I do agree to that. I too am not dismissing all his ideas. I too am impressed by his teachings. For instance, I'm moved when Swamiji talks about the divine incarnation and he quoted the Bhagavad Gita. When dharma decays and adharma prevails, I manifest myself for the protection of the good, for the destruction of the evil, for the firm establishment of dharma. I am born again and again.
And what is so special about that?
Well, you know, since childhood, we've been taught in a conventional religion that the Lord, the Almighty, can manifest himself only once. Just once. It's as though you are restricting the power of the Almighty, isn't it? I mean, if he can manifest himself once as a human being, then he can do it again and again and again and again and again. What restricts him from doing so?
Oh, that is a nice reflection coming from a skeptic. I never would have expected that.
Me, a skeptic?
Let none regret that they were difficult to convince. I fought my master, Sri Ramakrishna, for 6 long years, with results that I knew every inch of the way. Every inch of the way.
I cannot deny that I've seen some truths directly and I've been impressed by them. But there's some that have confused me. But what impresses me most is his personality, his aura. He speaks with a sense of conviction, which is born from realization that even a non-believer cannot deny. I need to understand and explore.
last fragments of what the Swami had said came back to Margaret, she decided to understand him better. She started attending his classes regularly. And then the time came. Before the Swami left England, Margaret addressed him as Master. For years, she had waited for some light to dispel the darkness and the fog that was obscuring her progress. She now saw a ray of light. She now saw a ray of light and desired to follow it.
At last I found my master. I have. Yes. Had he not come to London, my life would have been like a headless dream. For years I knew I was waiting for someone. For years I had this burning voice but nothing to speak. Had he not come to London? Had he not come to London? How many times? Many times I sat down, pen in hand, or to speak something, but there was no speech. And now, and now there is no end to it. There is no end to it. I am now ready for my world, and my world is in need of me, waiting, ready. I now call him my master. The arrow has finally found the place in the bow.
So, December 1895, Swamiji returned to America after his 2-month stay in England. Stayed there for about a year and then returned to England. Held many classes, many lectures for anyone who was deeply interested in spirituality. And the point to be noted is, Nivedita did not miss any of his lectures or classes. She had developed this intense urge to dedicate her life for a noble cause. And finally, the call came.
Love. Love knows no fear. Imagine a young mother walking down the street and a dog begins barking at her. She flies to a house for protection. Now imagine the same young mother walking down the street with her child, and the lion bounces at them. Where is she now? But of course, in the mouth of the lion, protecting her child. Love. Love conquers fear. My ideologies can indeed be put into a few words. It is to preach unto mankind their own divinity and how to make it manifest through each movement of life. Religions of this world have become mockeries. What the world wants now is character. It is in need of those whose life is a burning love. And that love will make each word they say sound like thunderbolts. The best and the bravest of us needs to sacrifice themselves for the good of the many, for the welfare of all. Buddhas by the hundreds with love and piety in their lives. What is needed now is 20 men and women who can stand on the streets and proclaim that they have nothing in their hearts but God. Who will come? Who will come? Who will come? Who will come? Why should one fear? For if this is true, what else matters? And if it is not, then why do our lives matter? After coming to the West, I have realized one of the reasons for your success is the education of both men and women. Whereas women in my country are neglected. A bird cannot fly with one wing. Both men and women are needed to build a successful nation. What is needed now is not a man, but a woman, a real lioness, to work for India, her women especially.
That's what Swami Vivekananda wanted. To invoke Mother Durga, an epitome of fierce compassion, full of power, full of strength. And yet overflowing in empathy. A firm mothering nature. A firm mothering nature that sustains, that nurtures.
ऐ सुमन 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 सुमनु सुमबुन्दियुदे श्रीधरननी रजनी 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 करनी करवक्रभृदे सुनयनवि प्रमर 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 प्रमराधिपदे जय जय महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यगवर्धिनि शैलसुधे ऐ मयि दीनदयाळुतया कृपयैव व्ययापविदत्यमुमे ऐ जगदो जननी कृपया सियताद अनुमिततासुरधे यडुचितमन्त्रभवत्युररी गुरुतादुरुतापमपाकरुते जय जय महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकवर्दिनि शैलसुते
Swamiji. Swamiji.
Yes?
Swamiji, I'm keen to go to India and see for myself with a vision to serve for the country, especially for the women, Swamiji.
You? Are you sure?
Yes, Swamiji. I always knew a call would come. And it has. It has.
You have a great future in the work in India. But know for certain, it's not going to be easy. India is a tropical country. The weather in India is extremely hot most of the year. Will you be able to tolerate the climate? The life in India, it is so different from that in the West. Could you do without these European comforts? The British in India will hate you for befriending Indians. Are you brave enough to stand up to their hatred? And Indians, Indians, they will be doubtful of your intentions. Are you brave enough to tolerate their suspicions?
Swamiji, I have made up my mind. The arrow has finally left the bow.
You must think well. You must think well before you jump in. For if you do, if you fail in your quest or get disgusted by it, I will be with you unto death. It would be irrespective of whether you worked for India or not, whether you remain in Vedanta or give it up. The tusks of an elephant come out, but never go back. Even so are the words of this man.
a cold and foggy winter, Margaret left England. June 28, 1898, she arrived in Kolkata. Soon after, two of Swamiji's American disciples, Mrs. Sarah Bull and Miss Josephine MacLeod, also came to Kolkata. They went on to stay at Belur Mutt near Kolkata in a cottage on the banks of the river Ganges. Soon, a bond of love, a bond of friendship grew between them. The very first thing that Swamiji did was to arrange a public meeting on March 11th to introduce Margaret to the people of Kolkata.
I have come to India not to patronize it, but to learn about her glorious throbbing culture and to serve her. India as she is can only be read in the light of the Indian history. Only by a loving and gradual study of how she came to be can we understand what the country actually is. What's the intention of her evolution? What a hidden potential may be. One of the master facts of Indian history is that India is and always has been a synthesis. The life of each and every province is rich and individual. Yet, over and above it, India has always known how to constitute in herself a unity of common hopes and common loves. The influence of the spiritual thought of India has been immense on England. Immense. The Indian civilization has preserved in itself the greatest spiritual treasures for the world. I have heard the call. It is for this that I am here in India, with my burning passion for service.
That was a great speech. And it shall go a long way in clearing the path for your work here in India.
Swamiji, I feel it's you. It's your influence that is going to help me in the Indian society, in the Indian culture.
No, it is not me. The one whose blessing you require is the Holy Mother, the divine consort of my Guru, Sri Ramakrishna. Through her, thousands of Vivekanandas will be born in the future. But know for certain, there is only one mother, none like her.
Swamiji, can I meet her?
Yes. Why don't you, along with Sarah and MacLeod, prepare to meet her at once? She's recently staying here in Calcutta. But once she leaves for her house in Joyrambati, it will be months before you can see her.
Swamiji, after listening about her, I have this irresistible desire to meet her, Swamiji.
I will arrange for it at once. May she bless you all, is my earnest prayer.
Swamiji.
March 17th, 1898. March 17th, 1898, Margaret, along with Mrs. Sarah Bull and Miss Josephine MacLeod, went to meet the Holy Mother at 10/2 Bospara Lane, Kolkata.
I am Swami Swarupananda. I will take you to the Holy Mother. Please come. You are actually very lucky. You are the first Westerners to meet the Holy Mother. Please come with me. Mother, please meet these ladies. They've come all the way.
Come in, my daughters. Seeing you, how I feel. Sri Ramakrishna's vision came true. Come sit near me. What is your name?
Margaret Elizabeth Noble.
My child, I will not be able to call you by such a long name. I will call you Cookie.
Cookie. What does that mean? Cookie means baby.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm mother's baby.
Please have some refreshments.
Won't you join us?
Of course. It is such a delight to be with you. Please have some refreshments.
Oh, Mother, this is so wonderful.
Won't you say to the Holy Mother what you have learned in Bangla, Bengali?
Yes. Mother is our Kali. Matru Devi, Apni Hon, Amidagar Kali?
No, my child. I can't be your Kali or any such thing. I will have to stick out my tongue.
No, you do not have to do that. We shall regard you as our Mother Kali. And Sri Ramakrishna, he's our Shiva.
That's all right. I always pray to the Lord so that He might help you in your noble efforts and keep you strong and happy.
Oh, Mother, it has been so peaceful and nice to meet you.
Mother, I feel so blessed.
Thou shalt remain in my heart, oh dear mother. Thou shalt remain in my heart like a pleasant dewdrop in the moonlit night. Thou shalt remain in my heart, oh dear mother. The roughness of my life, the dryness of my soul, thou shalt fill with fragrance. I know it for certain. Thou shalt remain in my heart. Thou remain always awake and guard me from evils. The coolness of thy love nourishes my mind and spirit, my joys and sorrows, my life's aspiration finds fulfillment in thy compassion, oh dear mother, oh dear mother, oh dear mother.
This meeting made Holy Mother realize the prophetic vision of Sri Ramakrishna. Let's now narrate the wonderful vision of Sri Ramakrishna that proved to be literally true.
look here. Won't you do anything? Must this do everything?
But what can I do? I am a mere woman.
No, no. You will have to do many things. Look at human beings. They are like worms crawling in the darkness. You must bring light to them. This is not my burden alone. You will have to share it.
I feel an inexplicable motherly love for the entire humanity. Just like a mother intently desires to deliver her child from all sufferings, yet feels utterly helpless in her futile attempt to change the course of destiny. So is my condition. To what avail is my love?
I assured you. Those who come and take refuge in you, I will hold their hands and accompany them.
When you are here to deliver them, what is the need for them to come to me?
I feel as if I am going to a faraway country, across the shores of this world, very far away.
What do you mean?
Don't worry. It's just like moving from one room to another. You too will come along. Just wait a little till my children come and get your blessings from far and wide.
From far and wide?
I had a vision. I am in the land of white people. Their skins are white. Their hearts are white. They're simple and sincere.
But what about the language? How will I communicate with them?
In what language an infant communicates to its mother? Love communicates through silence. Love doesn't need any language. Rather, language becomes an hindrance. You will realize it very soon. I have to pass on the baton. Now it's your turn.
তোমার হলো শুরু, আমার হলো সারা। তোমার হলো শুরু, আমার হলো সারা। তোমায় আমায় মিলে এমনি বহে
have seen her. I have seen her. She's a very soul of sweetness, so gentle and loving, and she's so tender. Merry as a girl. My daughter. My daughter. She calls me that. You talk to me about her being an Orthodox, but all her orthodoxy melted away the moment she saw us. And even tasted food with us.
Mother even ate food with you. That is grand. The partaking of food with a Western lady is as if a sanction has been given by her to Hindu society, to accept you into its folds.
I do agree. How a single act of hers has given us all a dignity and made our work possible like nothing else could have ever done.
Now that Mother has accepted you, I am free of all my anxieties and doubts. I shall now initiate you in the vows of the Brahmachari, the life of a celibate monk devoted to serving God and man. Henceforth, you shall be known as Nivedita, the dedicated. Be like Shiva in renunciation and like Buddha in compassion. Go now and follow him who gave his life 500 times before he attained the state of Buddha. A hero's heart, a mother's will, the softness of a southern breeze. All these be yours and many more, no ancient soul has seen before.
उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत प्राप्त्य त्वरां निबोधत सूरस्य धारा निशिता धुरत्यया दुर्गं पथस्तत् कवयो वदन्ति
Gentlemen, that is intermission for the play.
So, boys and girls, did you enjoy the story so far?
Wow, she came all the way from England to India? And changes from Margaret Melbourne to Nivedita? Did you know that means a dedicated one? She was dedicated, all right. Yes, to Swami Vivekananda, her guru, the Holy Mother, and Lord Ramakrishna. But what exactly does Nivedita do? Yes, what exactly does she do? Duh, that's what we'll find out, right?
Right. So, she gave her life to realize the vision and teachings of her Guru Swami Vivekananda. Now, what was the vision? A bird cannot fly with one wing. Both men and women are necessary to build a successful nation. Good. So, that was the backdrop of making of Bhogini Nivedita. Now, before we move ahead with the story, let's introduce another inspiring figure of her time, Sister Christine. So, Sister Christine was like a shadow, following Nivedita in her dedicated service for the empowerment of the women in India. She worked very closely with her in many of her important endeavors. Summer of 1898. So, summer of 1898, Swami Vivekananda, Nivedita, and others left for Almora in the Himalayas. Here, Nivedita had to undergo a severe test before she could love India, before she could discover India, but most importantly, before she could identify herself with India.
One thing you must remember: the service for which I have called you here is not mine, but of India's. And that must imply a complete forgetting of your old self and your old life.
Swamiji, I've started to know and like India, but that does not diminish my loyalty towards the English.
So, to which nation do you belong?
To the English nation, obviously.
The way in which you worship the English flag is no different from how an Indian woman would choose to worship her chosen deity.
I am an English to the core of my being. Its race, its deeds, its history.
Its deeds and its history. Are you aware of the damage the English have done as a dominant power in India?
But Swamiji...
Stop! Patriotism like yours is a sin. Don't you realize that the actions of most people and nations are nothing but a manifestation of their own selfish interests? And you constantly assert this idea by thinking that a certain race is all angels.
But Swamiji...
Ignorance so determined is wickedness.
Swamiji, I fear you have gone too far. Are you not aware of the pain and suffering Nivedita is going through?
Yes. I fear it has gone too far. There must be a change. I am going to the forest to meditate. When I return, I shall bring peace.
Swamiji, it's pitch dark.
Yes. Look at these stars in this rarefied mountain air. Look, the North Star. What a coincidence. The Mohammedans think much of the new moon. Let us begin a new life with this new moon.
down and know my soul so weary. When troubles come and my heart burden me, then I am still and wait here in this silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy sea. When I am strong, when I am on your shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be.
Long time ago, Sri Ramakrishna had told his disciples that a day would come when his beloved Naren would manifest the power to bestow knowledge with just one touch. Just one touch. This evening at Almora, I proved the truth of Ramakrishna's prophecy. For the first time, I realize and I understand that the greatest teachers may destroy in us a personal relation. They do. Yes, they do. But just in order to bestow an impersonal vision in its place. Pranam, Ma.
Ma, I've been so much at peace ever since I've started living with you.
You are my cookie. You must be at peace with me. After all, you have so much to do for the women of India. Well, what about your activities for women's education? How far has it progressed?
Ma, I have come to you for that. We are starting a school for the girls on the 13th of November, on the auspicious day of Kali Puja. Ma, I've come to invite you. Please, please be there, bless us, purify the school for us. Nobody else can do it for us other than you.
Do you realize what immense good will happen from such a school? After all, our women are ignorant and unlettered.
Ma, our women are by no means ignorant. They aren't. They might not have formal education. Ma, but does one hear such words of wisdom from women in India? I don't think so.
That's true. Women, as mothers, do play an active role in their children's lives by instilling in them values like compassion, confidence, integrity, and perseverance. And all of that wrapped in unconditional love.
But that's what you are, Ma. The universal mother. The mother of all.
Oh, Mother Sarada, pranams to you. In thy love is my strength, pranams to you. Oh, Mother Sarada, pranams to you.
at last came the auspicious moment, the inauguration of Nivedita School. Swamiji's vision is going to be materialized. And that too with the blessings of Holy Mother.
I think Ma is there. Please come in, Ma.
May the Divine Mother of the Universe bless this school. May the girls trained here be ideals to the society.
Ma, I cannot imagine a grander woman than your blessings over the future educated Indian women. Girls, why don't we sing a song?
Why don't you sing a little?
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujala, Sufala, Malayaj Shitala, Sasya Shamala, Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
That's wonderful. The girls have learnt really well. How did you manage to get so many girls enrolled?
It wasn't easy, Ma. The first thing I did was to walk through the slums. I walked through the slums and found houses where the children were never allowed to go to school. I then spoke to the parents and convinced them to allow them to come to school. It just wasn't easy. In some houses, they just wouldn't allow me to come inside. Some did, but then later on purified the house by sprinkling Ganges water. Every day I would come back tired and exhausted. But as long as I could manage even a few girls for the school, these little harassments just did not matter. They just did not matter. Every day I would sleep exhausted, but with images of bright faces and twinkling eyes. I then went to sleep.
Indeed, it was a difficult journey. It needed the grit, it needed the determination, it needed the resilience of Nivedita to initiate the first steps with the conviction that others too will follow.
Is there anyone inside? Is there anyone here? Are there any little children? Come here. Come here.
Hey, Kiri! Are you feeding you woman? What are you doing here? We don't want
Are there any small children here? Is there anyone in the house?
Eesh! Ram, Ram, Ram! Chee, chee! What are you doing here, you lecture woman? Look what you have done. I have to clean this whole house with this holy Ganges water. I don't want to see you here again. Out! I sit down. Out! I sit down. I sit down. This Vedanta woman is giving me a lot of trouble. Come on, go. Chee, Ram, 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 Ram. Chee, 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 chee.
Come here.
You again? If I ever see you in this vicinity, I am not going to spare you just because of a woman. Huh? Go away. তুমি জানো না আমি কে? You don't know who I am and what I can do. Go.
যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে
It's a myth. It's a myth, Ma. It's a myth that the children from the slums, that the parents do not want their children to go to school, that they would rather put them to work. It's complete hogwash. I realize that. Parents all over the world want their children to lead better lives than themselves. But they just need to be convinced. They just need to be convinced that change is possible.
Bravo. Bravo. Blessed be your dedication. There was no bounded necessity for you to educate the girls of our country, bearing such ill treatments and insults. But you took on the responsibility of teaching them because Your guru wanted it. Only the Lord knows how, when, and through whom He makes one work. I clearly see Mother India arising from the women living in the huts of slums and villages, unlettered and uncared.
Ma, shall we start the function?
Of course.
Come, Ma. আজি বাংলাদেশের হৃদয় হতে কখন আপন তুমি এই অপরূপ রূপে বাহির হলে জননী আজি বাংলাদেশের হৃদয় হতে কখন আপন তুমি এই অপরূপ রূপে বাহির হলে জননী ওগো মা তোমায় দেখে দেখে আঁখি না ফিরে তোমার দুয়ার আজি খুলে গেছে সোনার মন্দিরে ডান হাতে তোর খড়গ জলে বাহাত করে শঙ্কা হরণ ডান হাতে তোর খড়গ জলে বাহাত করে শঙ্কা হরণ দুই নয়নে স্নেহের হাসি ললাট নেত্র আগুন বরণ ওগো মা তোমার কি মূরতি আজি দেখে রে ওগো মা তোমার মুক্ত কেশের পুঞ্জ মেঘে লুকায় অশনি তোমার আঁচল ঝলে আকাশ তলে রৌদ্র বসনি তোমার মুক্ত কেশের পুঞ্জ মেঘে লুকায় অশনি তোমার আঁচল ঝলে আকাশ তলে রৌদ্র বসনি ওগো মা তোমায় দেখে দেখে আঁখি না ফিরে তোমার দুয়ার আজি খুলে গেছে সোনার মন্দিরে যখন অনাদরে চাইনি মুখে ভেবেছিলেন দুঃখিনী মা আছে ভাঙা ঘরে একলা পড়ে আছে ভাঙা ঘরে একলা পড়ে দুঃখের বুঝি নাই কুসীমা কোথা সে তোর দরিদ্র বেশ কোথা সে তোর মলিন হাসি কোথা সে তোর দরিদ্র বেশ কোথা সে তোর মলিন হাসি আকাশে আজ ছড়িয়ে গেল ওই চরণের দেখতে রাশি ওগো মা তোমার কি মূরতি আজি দেখে রে ওগো মা আজি দুঃখের রাতে সুখের স্রোতে ভাষাও ধরনি তোমার অভয় বাজে হৃদয় মাঝে হৃদয় হরণি আজি দুঃখের রাতে সুখের স্রোতে ভাষাও ধরনি তোমার অভয় বাজে হৃদয় মাঝে হৃদয় হরণি ওগো মা তোমায় দেখে দেখে আঁখি না ফিরে তোমার দুয়ার আজি খুলে গেছে সোনার মন্দিরে আজি বাংলাদেশের হৃদয় হতে কখন আপন তুমি এই অপরূপ রূপে বাহির হলে জননী আজি বাংলাদেশের হৃদয় হতে কখন আপন তুমি এই অপরূপ রূপে বাহির হলে জননী
following March, a terrible thing happened. Bubonic plague raged in Kolkata. All those who could leave the city were doing so, and the rest were panicked. The poor, the children, the stricken were just left to fend for themselves in unhygienic slums with terrible sanitation and open sewers. Swami Vivekananda immediately put his monks and followers to work. And you know who was in charge of it? Nivedita was in charge of it.
We have to take care of the sick and clean the city. Diseases breed in filth and rubbish. I need volunteers who can help me do that. Is there anyone who can do that? Are there any volunteers here? Are there any volunteers? Is there anyone who can do it with me? Is there anyone who can do it with me? Keep your own city clean? No one?
Sister, please, let me help. Sister, please, please.
Don't help me. Help yourself. After all, the city is yours, and for your sake, clean the city.
Thank you, sister.
Sister, this morning I've been to see a plague-stricken patient in one of the slums in the suburb of Baghbazar.
Well, Dr. Kaur, what arrangements have been made for the patient?
Well, sister, the patient's condition is critical, and the hygienic condition in the slum is so poor, it's extremely impossible to reach out. There is high chance of getting infected.
Dr. Kaur, no community should be left behind just because they've been thought too difficult to reach or too hard to serve. Healthcare workers must reach every sick and take care of them.
But sister, where are the health workers? There's panic everywhere. People are fleeing.
When plague threatens to bring humanity to its knees, we need volunteers. We need volunteers who do not surrender to fear. They have to learn the symptoms, team up with the doctors and nurses, go door to door and serve the sick, take care of them. The blind spots of slum health can become hot spots of pandemic disease. And that, Dr. Kaur, that is a huge risk. If no one is ready to do that, if there is no one who's ready to do that, I am doing it all by myself.
Sister, you have to take care of yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, doctor.
Here are some masks and the gloves that I brought for you. You have to wear them while serving others. It is extremely important you remain safe. Is that clear?
Yes, doctor. I do understand.
Come with me. I'll show you more.
যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে তবে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে তবে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে যদি কেউ কথা না কয় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা কেউ কথা না কয় যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায় সবাই করে ভয় যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায় সবাই করে ভয় তবে পরাণ খুলে তবে পরাণ খুলে তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে जब काली घटा छाए ओरे हो रे हो अंधेरा सच को निगल जाए जब दुनिया सारी डर के आगे सर अपना झुकाए जब दुनिया सारी डर के आगे सर अपना झुकाए तू शोला बन जा वो शोला बन जा जो खुद जल के जहां रोशन कर दे अकला जलो रे जो खुद जल के जहां रोशन कर दे अकला जलो रे যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো
when I went to visit the patient, again in the afternoon. I saw Sister Nivedita sitting with the patient in her lap in the damp and weather-beaten hut in that unhealthy locality. Day in and day out, night after night, she remained engaged in nursing the child. When the heart was to be disinfected, she only took a small ladder by herself and starting whitewashing the wall by herself. Her nursing never slackened, never. Even when death was a certainty. After 2 days of tireless struggle, that child lay in eternal sleep. Lay in eternal sleep in the lap of the merciful lady. The child lays in eternal sleep. Child lays in eternal sleep. Lays in eternal sleep. Lays.
Nivedita had started her school as a small experiment. In about 6 months, she realized she needed more money to continue with it. So she went to America and then she went to England to raise funds for it. So she left India in 1899. February 1902, Nivedita arrived back in Kolkata. 4 years earlier, when she had come, she was scared. She was skeptical. But this time she felt the joy of returning to her own motherland. She talked of India as our country. She talked of Indians as our people. Rabindranath Tagore, the first Nobel laureate from Asia, wrote, when she uttered the words, our people, the tone of absolute kinship that struck the ear was never heard from any other, even amongst the Indians. As soon as she settled down, she started her school again.
Payojan. What is this? Why are your letters crooked today? See? Draw a straight line and then you follow it as you write. Yes?
Let's go in. No, I don't want to study.
You do not have to study, but you must come in. What's your name? Wow, beautiful. What is yours?
Geisha.
Beautiful names. You girls, you do not have to study, but you must come in. You know why? See, I've got so many toys for you. Get it here. I'll show you. They're all for you. Every day you should come and play with them. Do you like it? Girls, I think Swamiji is here. Swamiji.
I just came to see how the school was progressing. Oh, and I bought these sweets for the girls. Why don't you distribute them?
Payojan, get some plates. Swamiji's got some sweets for us. Sayana, what is this? How many times have I told you not to throw like this? Here, we have a basket. You need to throw all of it here. Yes? Good, good.
Here, give it to me.
Okay. Now all of you go wash your hands. Go, 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 go.
Wonderful. What a great way to educate. After all, real education should be about this: thinking, feeling, and willing.
Thinking, feeling, willing. What do you mean by this, Swamiji?
Well, instead of scolding and rebuking a child, create a situation where she can think for herself. And through that thought, she herself will feel the need for what is desirable change. And once she feels the need for change, she herself will herself and others to change with her. And that is how she will empower the society.
Yes, Swamiji, you're right. Do you know when we were fighting the plague? This word contagious, it used to frighten me. But now, Swamiji, I like it. It's not goodness, it's not disease alone that's contagious. Goodness is contagious, compassion is contagious, inspiration is contagious. However, there is a difference. While we can get immune to disease, but getting immune to goodness, compassion, inspiration, Swamiji, that's impossible. Swamiji, do you remember the first time we met? You told us love conquers fear. You also told us about this lady, this frightened lady on the street with her child, and how a lion sprung on her child. She was in the very mouth of the lion, protecting her child. She was frightened earlier. Love conquers fear.
At last, you have realized. I bless you that the power of the divine may flow through you. May your mind and heart be that of the Holy Mother. It is power immense that I wish for you. And with that, if possible, infinite peace.
Swamiji.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता या देवी सर्वभूतेषु छायारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
Swamiji visited Nivedita school more than once. But his last visit was in June 1902. Nivedita knew. Nivedita knew he was not well. So she went to meet him at Bellur Math on July 2nd. It was a Wednesday, an Ekadashi, 11th day of the moon. Swamiji fasted. Swamiji fasted but made her sit near him and eat.
Swamiji. Swamiji, the school activities are going on so well. I'm very happy. Swamiji.
A great tapasya has come over me. I make ready for my death.
Swamiji, the school activities have just started. And how can you talk about death? Death, Swamiji?
How often does a man ruin his disciples by remaining always with them? A tree cannot grow in the shade of a banyan. Now that the men are trained, it is important that I leave them. Isho. Well, this is all we could get for you on this holy Ekadashi day. Boiled seeds of jackfruit, boiled potatoes, and ice-cold milk. Eat. Please, eat. No, you must eat.
Swamiji. Swamiji, I am supposed to do this for you, not you for me.
Well, Jesus washed the feet of his disciples.
But Swamiji, that was for the last time.
Yes, it was. Mono cholo nijo niketane. Mono cholo nijo niketane. সংসার বিদেশে বিদেশীর বেশে ভ্রম কেন অকারণে মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে মন চলো নিজ নিকেতনে
Though indications were given, none felt the end would come so quickly. It came just 2 days later. 4th of July 1902 was the last day of Swamiji's eventful life.
If there was another Vivekananda, he would have known. He would have known what this Vivekananda has done. But this Vivekananda, he is gone. Gone forever. And it is now Noreen, Ramakrishna's Noreen, sitting at his feet in Dakshineshwar, in peace, peace, eternal peace.
Noreen,
Master.
Ah, those were the days. What a deep yearning you had for spiritual realization. How intently you pestered me for it. But I was afraid. The veil of ignorance was so thin, it might have fallen any time. But I always knew the day you realize your true potential, you will live up this body through yoga by your own act. But you have to do mother's work. So I let you have a glimpse of oneness of this entire existence. But just like a treasure, that realization had to be locked up immediately. But the key was always with me and had to be opened once my work was done.
Master, I am a voice without form. It was always you who were working through me. But now my play is done. Master, the white ones with the white hearts who you envisioned, they have come, Master. They have come. And Nivedita, Nivedita sits at the helm of the boat to guide them down the Ramakrishna River. My play is done. I am once again that boy sitting at your feet. I come, Master. I come.
Noreen, are you and me are separate? You are me and I am you. For mother's work, we were two. now, let's be one.
It may be that I find it good to cast off this body, throw it away like a disused garment. But I shall not cease to work. I shall continue to inspire men everywhere till the world shall know it is one with God. May I be born 1,000 times and suffer 1,000 miseries, so that I may worship the only God I believe in, the only God that exists, the sum total of all human souls.
Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who pulled at my garment? Who is that? Oh, this piece of saffron cloth. This piece of saffron cloth. It seems to have come from the pyre. It seems to have come from the pyre, this saffron cloth. This is a message. It is a message from my master. It's a message from my master. It's a message from my master. This is his call. This is his call to eternity from beyond the grave. This is his call to eternity from beyond the grave. This is his call to eternity from beyond the grave. It's his message. It's my master's message. It's his call to eternity from beyond. It's his call to eternity from beyond the grave. It was indeed a message from a master beyond the grave. It was indeed a message from a master beyond the grave. Was indeed a message from a master beyond the grave. The scope of
Nivedita's activities extended beyond the school to other aspects of Indian national life. She encouraged, she patronized the leading Indian scientists in pursuing world-leading research. Her contribution to the Indian nationalism and the freedom movement was immense. She introduced the singing of Vande Mataram in a school assembly. And it became the Indian national song, inspiring so many of its leaders. She encouraged the leading Indian artists to develop a pure Indian school of art by connecting with the Indian ancient art forms. Swami Vivekananda is no more in his physical form. He is no more in his physical form. But he has left behind a legacy to be delivered to the future generations, to the inspiring and the dedicated lives of his followers. Nivedita, being the foremost among them, was left behind to spread the knowledge of freedom widely until the whole humanity is filled with tremendous passion for freedom from bondage and suffering. And it knows it is one with God. It knows it is one with God.